Should we talk about the Switch hardware at this point?
We can.
Because I think we're done talking about the software.
It'll be out when the show is out.
Yeah, everybody will have it in their hands. I have concerns about the Joy-Con. Just the design of how that all slips into place and integrates onto the tablet. It's just raising a lot of red flags for me, engineering wise.
Go on.
The rails on the tablet are metal, and it seems like everything that connects the Joy-Con to it is plastic. And that includes a little cantilevered lead-in that kind of lines it up to slide in.
Okay.
So by cantilevered, I mean, do you know what that means?
Yes. Hanging over.
Yeah, it's hanging out there without any support.
It's a piece of plastic.
Is this piece of plastic that looks like it's about maybe a ½ inch wide by, maybe somewhere like 1/10 of an inch thick. Maybe a little bit, maybe. I don't think it's near 1/4 of an inch, but just from pictures, I'm judging all this. And that goes into this small little radius corner that also there's another radius corner there for the lip that slides up against to hold it in the if you were to try to rotate it around the Switch. So that just seems like that's not the best idea. And then the locking mechanism, which is the only thing that holds it in the vertical direction. If you were to just hold the Switch right in front of you, it's very tiny. That thing, if that's plastic, which I think it is, that's going to get constantly worn against the metal that snaps into, that makes that snap sound. So I know Giant Bomb, they dropped one of their Switches.
They dropped the Switch or they dropped the Joy-Con?
No, they dropped it with the Joy-Cons attached to it.
Oh, okay.
So
perfect. That's what you wanted.
Right. That is not what you want to do, because then it seems like they've sheared off.
Oh, right.
The lock.
Yes, the metal wins
tab.
is what you're saying.
The metal wins. The metal is going to win over plastic.
The weight. Yes, I can see that. Yeah.
So I think I really hope Nintendo has gone through and done some cycle testing on this to see how many times you can snap and unsnap that thing to see what the life on it is.
Wombat cycle testing is when they run it over with a motorcycle.
I know what it is.
I'm really trying to dumb down the engineering here
for Wombat.
But for everybody, for listeners involved, I could get a lot more in depth with it, but I don't know. My feeling is that they have the potential of having a huge issue here with the Joy-Cons.
Right.
I think they may have designed the thing upside down. I think the Joy-Cons, to be more sturdy, would have been better if they just slid in from the bottom.
But then you couldn't do it from the stand, right?
Well, of course, you couldn't do it from the stand, but does that matter?
You just take it out of the stand and do it.
Yeah, you just take it out of the stand and do it. Because then you're not relying on that little tab to be all of, holding all the weight. Then you could put the little lip on the bottom of it and hold it on the lip, when it's sitting up.
Shipwreck, can you design a new Switch and submit it to Nintendo as soon as possible?
I think they'll figure it out. I'm hoping that I really, 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 really hope I'm wrong on this. Because I don't want to see, I don't want to buy a console that I know is going to break. But that's no fun.
We can be Switch ambassadors, and that means free games to go with our broken Switch.
Yeah, you'll get, I would say 10 free games, but there aren't 10 games. So
you get 3 copies of 1-2 Switch and some future considerations.
There you go.
But I'll comment more about it next week once I actually have the thing in my hands. And
that's more fair.
And I was thinking about this the other day, and you can tell me if I'm way off base. Because you're smart people. So you know how this new Nintendo Switch is going to have a paid online service?
Mm-hmm.
Similar to the way Xbox does and PlayStation does. And that's fine. Do you think if they get enough subscriptions, like how Xbox and PlayStation have a bajillion subscriptions and make a ton of cash from it? Because a lot of it is profit.
Yeah.
If Nintendo actually does get enough subscriptions and are able to make enough profit from, auto-renewing subscriptions, will they be able to lower the price of this console, unlike with the Wii U?
They could have lowered the price of the Wii U.
But they didn't.
They've got they're sitting on loads of money.
Yeah, they were. I don't know what they were thinking there.
I mean, they didn't lower the price of the Wii U. Could they? Is it an easier pill to swallow to lower the price of the Switch if they get enough subscriptions to their online service?
They'll only lower the price if it makes sense to them. It has. I don't think it would have anything to do with if they were being successful. If they're being successful, I think there's less chance.
Sure.
Well,
I mean, look, Wombat, if they didn't lower the price of the Wii U through that whole disaster...
You don't think so? There will never be a price drop on the Switch?
No. Well, no, I don't think that's true.
There'll be a price drop on it.
Yeah.
Sure. The normal kind of price drop as you go through the life cycle of this thing.
The Wii U really never made it. I don't know what. I think they decided the Wii U was done pretty early on, so they didn't bother doing the price drop because they just want to let it die off quietly.
I guess we'll readdress this conversation in a year.
But I don't think that they would be. I think that's very fresh in memory, the Wii U. And so
I would say because the thought process is you lower the price with the hopes that more people buy the console to get more people to buy your online subscription, and then in 2 years you've made more money than you would have if you sold them the console at full price.
I don't think they're like Shipwreck says. I don't think one thing has to do with the other. They don't think that way.
I don't put enough faith in them to realize that they're a service-based company. Okay.
Yeah, because, that's the way I think, and I think that's the way Microsoft definitely thinks.
That's definitely how Microsoft works.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later, but, because they're no fools. It seems to be very a successful model for them. I'm wondering if Nintendo has thoughts of that model because they are introducing a paid online service.
I don't think they would copy Microsoft at any turn. Nintendo has a very successful model as well. It's being highly protective of their IP that just continues to make them money.
Yes, just not in the numbers that it was. How long ago now was the Wii the biggest thing?
It's throw the Wii out the window. Like that is never going to happen again.
No, it won't happen.
If you compare it to their whole cycle from NES on, they're still very profitable.
I never said they weren't profitable.
Right,
the question was never whether or not they're profitable. It was a question of getting the console into as many homes as possible. It's two different things. And is that the goal of Nintendo, to get their console into as many homes as possible, or is it to just turn the modest profit, which I know is a lot, that Nintendo is used to making historically, Wii not being considered?
I'm sure they want everybody to buy one.
But they're still going to do it the way that they're going to do it. They don't really, they're not looking to steer the boat in another direction to go after more riches. They're just going to stay the course.
I think I have a good example here with the NES Classic. I think the reason Nintendo hasn't truly just been pumping those things out is I don't think the profit margins are there for them. It just doesn't, $60 for this thing. They're not making a ton on it.
That is probably very true.
Really? You don't think they could be making $20 on it? $10?
There's hardware involved. It's not like pressing a disc for the same price.
The licensing.
Right. Yeah, there's licensing. There's you're having to send that to stores. It's bigger than a case of
It's
games.
heavier than a game. It's got moving parts. I'm with Shipwreck on this one.
It just doesn't make sense financially just to put a whole bunch of those out there. Sure, they're turning a profit on it, but I doubt it's their normal just so much profit on everything we put out.
It's not Wii U profit.
There's no potential for future profit either, unlike the Switch.
Right.
Yes.
So there's a reason why they didn't pump the market full of those things. And I don't remember where I was going with that. What were we comparing this to?
I don't know. You said you had a point, and I thought we were done. But I was just posing a hypothetical situation because I thought it would be an interesting conversation.
Oh, I think they don't want to sell it. That was going to be my point. They don't want to lower the price of this thing to get it into many homes as possible, and not make a profit on it. Still, they like their profit numbers where they're at. So. They'll lower the price when it makes sense, but it's we're so early. This thing just came out.
I know
price drop.
We're talking about price drop, and we're talking about they have the hardware defects.
I think it comes down to competition in the marketplace and their ability to compete in the U.S. market when the other two consoles have such a strong lead. But
and they're cheap.
I guess and
they're cheap.
They're getting very cheap. So someone on the fence who has nothing, again, it really comes down to, yes, those Nintendo IPs. But
it comes down to the IPs, and they are in their unique space. The other two consoles, you can't take them with you. So it's not a direct comparison on consoles. Like it's an easy bullet point to tell parents, or mainly parents, for this. Let's be honest, it's still
it's $300 before you add
right. That's
game.
the tough. I do agree that the $300 price point,
crazy price,
makes this
before you have a game. And you could say, well, this one you can only play at home, but it's $250 and it comes with 2 games. This is $399 without a game, but you could take it in the car.
Which is a big selling point.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just, it's, as a parent, I don't know which way I'd go.
But a parent, everybody has an iPad, though, already. Yes. And all the parents know that the iPad games are free or cheap.
And as a parent, I can tell you the last thing I want my kids to have is another thing that's like an iPad.
Another fucking tablet. That's $300 that if they drop.
It is literally the last thing I want in my house for my kids, is another thing like a tablet. If it was up to me, they wouldn't have the tablets.
Yeah. I don't blame you. Steve Jobs felt the same way.
Yeah, see? Yeah, well, if it was up to Steve Jobs, he wouldn't have had the kid.
I haven't watched the movie. Spoiler. We'll see. We're maybe getting ahead of ourselves before we...
Yeah. Well, I'm just, people like it when we pretend that we can tell the future. It's something for people to talk about. Maybe people think I'm right. Maybe people think I'm a crazy person. It's fun.
Speaking of crazy people, who decided that we needed friend codes for this thing?
No, that was Shipwreck's idea. He emailed Nintendo directly.
Just not enough time to come up with something else?
Mm-hmm. That's what it is. They've gone out and said now that there will be more ways to add friends in the future. Don't know if you guys realize this. This console is not ready to launch.
Yeah, I think we've figured. I mean, look, that's not that unusual. I mean, we've seen a lot of consoles launch with, that needed big updates on day one, and still
Microsoft is good at that.
Yeah, everybody's good at it. Everybody's guilty of that. But no online service, that's pretty big. Nintendo's, they are expanding this concept of an unfinished console at launch for sure, but it's not unheard of, and it's fairly common. They're just taking it to the next level, I would say.
And then there was this latest thing that came out that you can't save your games onto like the SD card that you put in there. Everything saves to the system. So you can't like take your saves with you or back up your saves or anything.
You mean there's no cloud saving? No. I'm just kidding. Cloud saving.
It just hard saves to your system, which then gets back into this, oh no, what is Nintendo doing again, where all of our content is locked down to a system level. So hopefully they fix that as well. I'm going to stay hopeful and say that this is just something they haven't gotten to yet.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that. We know that. That's not new news, I guess.
There are over 60 indie games on the way, though. Did you guys watch that Nintendo Direct?
No.
Oh.
Did I miss something?
They announced a whole bunch of
Blaster
indie
Master?
games.
Okay.
Isn't
Blaster
it like a new
Master.
one? It's a new Blaster Master that's exclusive, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. That's exciting.
That's good.
I won't knock that. I love that game.
Yeah, it's nice to see that there's all these indie games coming. It will fill the void that the Vita will leave.
Right, and the void of actual third-party games.
Well, that is their third party.
Right.
Indie games are Nintendo's third party.
Nindies. Please refer to them as Nindies.
I will never say that. That is the most ridiculous. Like
Nindies? I like it.
it sounds like Nintendo's taking credit for their these indie developers.
What movie do you prefer? Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom or Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade?
I think Nintendo should start selling underwear, and they could call them Nundies.
Nundies?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I
will have Nundy of that. Thank you.
Nindies. Oh, I like
a boy named after the dog.
No, that was the dog's name.